Today we're taking a look at the Regolo, the tier 10 Italian destroyer. I mentioned this one in the Bazan review yesterday, that the Bazan was probably a worse ship overall, but it was easier to play and much more comfortable. The Regolo has a better reload, it's got sap, which as you can see absolutely crushes people. But it has to play aggressive. It has no range, and that's my big issue with this ship. So if you play too aggressive, yeah, into submarines, it can hurt very badly. So it's very difficult to find that balancing point where you're useful to your team, you're impacting the game, potentially farming damage, and dying. It's very easy to die in this ship, even though it has 30k HP. Notice that the sub is torping from back there, but the marker on the surface was right next to me. I don't want to get into the whole sub thing. I think we all agree they're bad for the game, they're not designed well, but it's things like this where you can't even know where the sub is. Like, come on. Like, it's ridiculous. Anyways, played too aggressive, got punished, and now we have to try and salvage this game. We've only done 18k. A little while later, get myself a torpedo hit here and there, managed to get a little more damage. But late in the game is where you want HP as a destroyer, especially in one that is so good at killing other DDs, assuming you get into a gunfight. This sap hurts, man. Like 5k, 4k salvos is really, really good into destroyers, since they do take a lot of damage, especially early on in their HP pool. Unfortunately, subs don't. So I shouldn't make this video completely about subs, but I was dealing with subs a lot while playing this ship, and it got a little bit frustrating. Since I was dealing so much damage to DDs, it was shocking the difference into submarines. And you'll see that throughout this replay here, and a few of the games that I show you today. But just notice how little damage the sap is actually doing when compared to the damage it does to destroyers. We do manage to take him out, though, with a bunch of depth charge hits, so that is the submarine down. We need to figure out, though, how to support our team later into this game. We have to back off, of course, because we don't have the HP to deal with a charging Napoli, and potentially a Holland and an Elbing backing him up. And I get myself caught out. This ship has a 7.2 kilometer detect, so on top of having worse range than the Bazan, you also have much worse concealment, so it's very tricky to play this ship, although we do have an amazing speed boost. This is a 25% engine power speed boost, short duration of course, and of course these fuel smokes can lead to some good engagements or just helping you stay alive. I think that's going to be the big tricky part for this ship, at least for me, is trying to retain my health early in the game, and I think that really comes down to using these smoke screens a lot and trying to use them to actually save myself a lot of HP early on in matches. So we managed to claw it back a little bit, but we did end up losing overall. We did manage to take out that Elbing with some support, of course, but the damage isn't great, but the battle impact is there. It shows in the base XP. Since this ship, I haven't really been able to farm battleships all that well, most of the damage is coming on pretty priority targets, right? Like DDs, radar cruisers, a lot of that kind of thing. Submarines too, of course. But this kind of game is pretty typical of the Regolo, where you're left on your own, you don't have the support, really. Your friendly DD is maybe camping behind you, even though he has better detect than you. It's very tough to push into situations like this. There's an enemy Schlieffen and Nevsky backing up this Shima, so I tried to go wide with my smoke to throw them off a little bit, and I do manage to catch this Shimakaze. But I can't take him out. I can't play aggressive here because I know I'll just die to the Schlieffen secondaries and this Nevsky. And since the Shima can just smoke, he can get away for free. And then the next engagement, well, it's going to be a massive struggle because, of course, we can't actually outspot these guys. At least with the Bazan, I had a 6.2 kilometer detect. That was all right. But a lot of these games came down to me just getting outspotted and not being able to engage the enemy destroyers on my terms. It was tough. This match was maybe a little bit of an extreme example where I had absolutely no support. My team went on a lemming train and lost this game. But the sap does such good damage. It's those 5k salvos that you see that make me think this ship has some serious potential. It can be good. It can be very good. It's just that I think it needs something. I think it needs maybe a kilometer more range. I wouldn't want to give it better concealment because this kind of sap and firepower up close wouldn't really be fair to things like Shima and gearing, that kind of thing. But I do think that it could use a little bit of range, and that's maybe an issue with the entire Italian tech tree, as we eat the most obvious Shima torps on the planet. See guys, I make mistakes too. It's possible I was a little tilted and wasn't thinking straight in that one. But I think a big issue with the whole Italian tech tree is just that they're designed around Sansonetti, the commander, right? If we get ourselves a single kill, we get 8% range. It seems like all these Italian ships have no range, so they almost force you into using Sansonetti on all of them to make the most out of them. Colombo and Regolo especially. The Venezia is a little bit more balanced and very much usable. It's a very good ship, even outside of Sansonetti. But the DD line especially, and of course the battleship line, it feels like they were designed around you using Sansonetti. That's why they have such nerfed range and some weirdly long reloads that you want to be swapping your shell types, but then Sansonetti is the only way to get that improved expert loader. Of course, we do have the upcoming buffs to the Italian battleship line, where you're going to be able to swap your shell a little bit quicker by just standard. I think that'll be a good change to the Italian battleships, but it doesn't change that they don't have much range in a meta that really, really wants people to play from range and play safe. So I'm not sure. I think that we could have these ships just be good without the special commander would be interesting. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. But to me, that's kind of the Italian syndrome, I guess, or the issue with the Italian line. It's just, we only have one Sansonetti. Some people don't even have it. And we're expected to play these ships like we do have Sansonetti. It's tough. It's very tough. And in this game, I am playing a little bit more aggressive, but you noticed I've actually done a better job of hanging on to my HP early, playing around my teammates, and it does go better. It's not like this ship is all bad. I just think it's hard to play. And that's why I thought the Bazan was just a little better overall, because it's just more consistent. It's better in more situations. Although you do have to grind out a lot of coal to get the Bazan, whereas the Regolo is just a normal tech tree ship. And there's quite a few hybrid good gunboat DDs around. This is at least a unique experience, I would say. It's hard to play. It's very, very hard to play, and I'm going to play it some more, try and figure it out. I did say on stream today that I think I would really like this ship because it is so aggressive, and I enjoy that up close, in your face kind of gameplay if it had a little bit more range. I think if it had 12, 13 kilometers with the full range build, I would enjoy it a little more. Maybe if you just gave it range mod as an upgrade slot. I'll talk about that a little bit more when we go over the commander and the upgrades, but you can't even slot range in the 6th slot. Maybe that would be an interesting thing to do, so you can take the range, but then suddenly you lack some DPM. That'd be a good trade-off, maybe. These smokes, of course, I think I need to use more, right? I have 4 left nearing the end of the game here. That's probably my biggest weakness when playing this ship, is that I'm not using them enough. And they can just be used like this, where we start farming a ship at close range, and then as soon as they turn their attention to us, we pop our smoke and disappear. So I'm going to be trying that out as well. So far, I've had a little bit of a tough time cracking 100k in damage. The base XP has been fine, like I said. I think that a lot of the damage is coming from very high priority targets. I'm getting a lot of captures, right? Things that give me a lot of base XP, basically. So I think that, yeah, I could use some buffs, but it's not all bad. It's just a very different playstyle that I need to adapt to some more. So as I play it, maybe I'll figure it out a little bit more. I am on a more standard commander. I know in some of these earlier videos on the Italian DDs, I was using a dazzle, in-your-face, no range build. But I do think that we need the extra range at tier 10. And the gunpowder is solid, honestly. I really do think that at the tier 10 especially, we do have some really, really good firepower to make use of. So I want to be in positions where I can do that. And maybe that involves a division, right? That is something that you can definitely use to make up for some of the weaknesses in the concealment on this ship. If you run yourself in a div with a very stealthy DD like a Shima, or one with a radar like a Smalland, or anything like a Ragnar, that kind of thing, where you're able to outspot those DDs, and you're providing that kind of backup firepower, I think it could be really, really solid. In random battles though, as a solo player, it can be a little challenging to do that. But every once in a while, I think there will be the games where a Shima or a Gearing or a very stealthy DD will push and play the cap contest, and then I could play that second line DD and support them. So I'm obviously pretty conflicted when it comes to this ship. Part of me thinks it's amazing and has really high potential, and the other part of me thinks, this is a tier 10? Really? So I don't know. We'll see as I play more. These are just the first impressions after all. Here's the build that I was using. Very much a survivability, gun-focused build, right? I'm even taking Fearless Brawler over something like main battery and AA specialist because I want that DPM for those engagements where I finally do come across a destroyer. Maybe I should be trying to focus on something different, but that's what I've been using for now. I might switch things up in the future, we'll see. But as you can see in slot 6, yeah, no range mod available. So we're taking reload. I'm obviously taking concealment, propulsion, gun build. The Torps, much like the Bazan, are not very good. They have good range, but their damage and their speed really are lacking. So it's not really a torpedo boat. It's not a YOLO ship like the Paolo Emilio is. It's tough. It's an aggressive cap contester that doesn't have great concealment, that needs support to spot for it. I don't know. It's weird. It's very, very weird. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have suggestions on playstyle, if you've been playing it and figured it out, seriously, let me know. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.